So you made it through part 1. Now let's look at part 2. We're going to use the same information, but we're going to take it just a little bit further. Well, how? Well, if I'm using my regular molarity, just as a review, we know that we always start with moles over liters. But what happens if instead of moles, you're given grams, or asked to figure out, instead of finding the moles, how many, what's the mass of the substance? Well, this brings us to a nice little review. Well, if I know how many moles I have, how do I find the mass? Or if I know the mass, how do I find the moles? You should be saying, that sounds really familiar because we just finished doing this, and I agree. We're going to use our mole-gram conversions, our relationships that we understand already, to be able to figure this out. So that means we're going to be using our 1 mole is equal to the molar mass. I'm going to abbreviate here because, as you can see, my handwriting is a little weird in grams. So let's go ahead and get it started. The question says, what is the molarity of 650 grams of sodium chloride? So I have a volume, and I don't have moles, but I have a way to get moles. But I have to go through a step first. Well, I need to convert my 63 grams of sodium chloride into moles. Well, let's do it this way. I'm sure you guys will work with me. So, how would I set it up? Well, 60, pen, there we go. Let's make sure this works. 63 grams NaCl and I know that molar mass of sodium chloride is 58.44. We practiced with this one a lot in class. And 1 mole goes up top. Plugging that into my calculator, 63 divided by 58.44, and I got 1.08 moles. Okay, well, now I have my moles, and I have a volume. And what was the trick I told you of how to turn this into liters from milliliters? We have a dot here, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 1.08 moles divided by 0.650 liters. We come out with a final answer of I got 1.66. So it's the same process. I just had another step I had to do beforehand, which was to convert it into moles. Let's look at another example. What if I need to find the volume, but they're giving me mass and again, the appropriate concentration? Well, I'm still going to have to use my molar mass. We can see that because of what I'm looking at here and here. But we also have to rearrange. And if you wrote down the formulas like I told you to in the last one, you'll remember that in order to find the volume in liters, it's going to be the moles divided by the molarity. So let's get those values. Well, the molarity part's already done. I need to get my moles. So 130 grams FeCl2. Make my table. And 1 mole's at the top because that's the unit I want. And now 55.85 plus 70.90 gave me 126.75. 130 divided by 126.75, 1.02 moles, or 1.03, sorry. Okay, now I have my moles. I already had my volume, my molarity, so 1.03 divided by 0.88. And again, I can tell my value is going to be greater than 1 because my numerator is larger. So 1.03 divided by 0.88, and I got 1.17 liters as a final answer. Last question, a last example to work with for the moment. How many grams of calcium hydroxide are needed to produce 500 milliliters of a 1.66 molar solution? Well, again, going back to the previous video, how do we find the number of moles? We found that moles was equal to the volume times the concentration. So I have a volume, 2, 3, and I have a concentration. So I'm going to do 1.66 times 0.500, 1.66 times 0.5, and I got 0.83, 0.83 moles. But the question doesn't ask me to stop there. It says I need grams of calcium hydroxide. So 0.83 moles, which means since moles is here, 1 mole comes down. Oops. And the mass of calcium hydroxide goes to the top. Well, 40.08. Then I have 2 hydrogens. And then I have 2 oxygen. And I came up with a mass of 74.1 approximately. Well, let's plug it in. 0.83 times, since it's above the line, 74.1 equals 61.503. Now, the reason why this is so important for me to be able to do this, if you remember, when we go into the lab, many times we have to make the solutions in order to start the actual lab process. So this is telling me how much I'm going to need in order to make my solutions so that I can carry out my reaction. Well, I hope that this was useful for you. Again, go back, review it, rewind if you need to make sure you understand and that you have each of the examples so you'll be able to use them in the practice going forward. Have a lovely day. I'll see you soon.